What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Pursuing Points. My name is Peter, and today I am going to sign up for a brand new credit card which has a first year potential value of nearly $1,000. Before I get into it, be sure to hit that like button. It of course helps the channel out tremendously, and of course, thank you for watching. Now, what card are we going to sign up for today? Well, if you've listened to my podcast or you've watched any of my YouTube videos, or if you've ever met me for that matter, the thing that I repeat over and over again to people is if you're going to be successful with credit cards, of course you need to do things like pay off your balance in full and whatnot, but even before you sign up, you need to know where it is that you spend money, and then you need to target products that can maximize the value in those categories. Now, for me, as I've mentioned on this channel quite often, I love live entertainment, experiences, live events, concerts, sporting events, what have you. So for me, entertainment is a category that comes to mind as far as where I spend a lot of money. And even though I always knew that about myself, I did a little bit of research on the cards that I already have, and I went to each one and I looked up how much money have I really spent on, say, tickets in the last year. It turns out that across the majority of my products, just on Ticketmaster and StubHub alone in 2019, I spent about $8,000. Now, that of course isn't necessarily all mine, quote unquote. Of course, I have season tickets to the Buffalo Bills, for example. That's a large chunk of change, but all of those tickets don't belong to me. I just front the money. I have a similar setup with the New York Yankees, and if I'm buying concert tickets, for example, I might be the one who buys them, and then other people will Venmo me. So don't get hung up on the number, but based on what I found, I spent about $8,000 in 2019 on Ticketmaster and StubHub. I didn't look up any additional entertainment purchases, although I'm sure I have a couple. But that in and of itself is enough for me to say, you know what, given my new sort of redemption patterns, I think it might be interesting for me to sign up for a credit card where I can maximize these entertainment purchases. So I started looking around at different cards and what might be possible. And really, when you're looking in the entertainment category, one card sort of rises above all of the rest, kind of by a landslide. And that is the Capital One Saver card. Now, I've touched on this card in the past. It was one of my, I believe, 7 most underrated credit cards on the market. I think like Capital One in general is extremely underrated. I think they have some really good products. For whatever reason, and I touched on this in the last podcast, which I would encourage you to listen to. For whatever reason, Capital One doesn't seem like they're doing a great job of marketing to millennials, I guess. I can remember my grandfather signed up for a Capital One Venture card way back in the day, and that was before the Sapphire stuff really started to be popular, and it seems like the Capital One demographic remains a little bit older, right? It seems like it skews a little higher for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean that they don't have really good products. So the Capital One Saver, in this case, is $95 annual fee, but it's waived in the first year. Okay, you get 4% cash back on entertainment, 4% cash back on dining, 2% on grocery store purchases, and then 1% on everything else. Now, the big question for me is, will I use this as my dining card, or will I continue to use my Chase Sapphire Reserve? So again, I went to my year-end spending report and I looked at how much money am I really spending on dining, and that one's actually pretty easy because all of my dining expenses go on my Sapphire Reserve today. That number is similar to the entertainment, between $8,000 and $9,000 thereabouts. Again, that doesn't mean I'm spending $8,000 or $9,000 on dining every year. It just means that I am accruing $9,000 in dining expenses, which could mean that I go out to dinner and I offer to pay, and then again, everyone Venmos me, which, pro tip, do that with your friends. Offer to pay and then have them reimburse you. But as I've sort of alluded to on the show before, the Sapphire Reserve for me is sort of getting frustrating to deal with in the sense that, and I don't necessarily blame the card, but my redemption habits or patterns have changed significantly. Where I was once a travel quite a bit kind of guy, I'm traveling less now. And in fact, the things that I'm more interested are Less about travel related and seeing new things, but again, more about experiencing different things wherever I am, and then also taking excess money that I have and investing it. What those investments are might be the subject of a new video or potentially even a whole new YouTube channel. If you're interested in what that could be, leave a comment and I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but leave a comment and I'll gauge the interest. Anyway, so the Sapphire Reserve offers 3% on dining, and then of course those points are worth 50% more when redeemed for travel, which means 3% is really 4.5% if you're redeeming for travel, 3% if you're redeeming for cash, and then could be upwards of 5, 6, 7, etc. percent if you transfer out. My problem, and I realize that this is a good problem to have, is I have way too many Ultimate Rewards points. At the time of this video, I have somewhere in the neighborhood of, I want to say, 195,000 Ultimate Rewards points, which is too many. It means that I'm not doing a good enough job of redeeming as I earn. And as I've mentioned many times on this channel before, you don't want to just hoard points, right? You want to earn them and redeem them. You know, the longer they sit there, the higher the likelihood is that the company could devalue them and then they lose some of their luster, and you know, what was previously worth over $2,000 in my case could be worth a lot less. Now, I'm not especially worried about that happening, especially since this card just went through some changes and there was no devaluation, but it could happen. So I have plans beyond the Sapphire Reserve, right? I don't expect that's going to be my daily driver, or at least my travel and dining driver every day for the foreseeable future. Instead, what I'm really looking to do in 2020 is earn a little bit more cash back and do a much better job of redeeming points when I travel. Signing up for this card is the very first step in that process, and I'm excited about it. So as for the $1,000 in value, let's go over that real quick. This card has a $300 sign-up bonus when you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months. No annual fee in the first year, which is awesome. And then, based on my entertainment and dining expenditures, I anticipate being able to earn, I want to say, around $700 worth of rewards in year number 1 if I put all of my dining and all of my entertainment spend on this product. So that, you know, about $1,000 in year 1, which is fantastic. And then in year 2, the card, like I said, has a $95 annual fee, but there's also a no-fee version of this card, which offers 3% on entertainment and dining, and again, has no annual fee. Whether or not I'll choose to downgrade or something like that remains to be seen, but for now, I love knowing that I have that option. That if this card doesn't work out for some reason from a dining perspective, but I love it for entertainment, I can just go ahead and downgrade, put those purchases on there at 3%, and be happy. Now, all that's left to do before I ultimately put in the application is check my credit score. In my case, I know what it's going to be because I check it quite often, but in your case, if you don't check it as often and you're getting ready to sign up for a new card, be sure to check it, make sure everything is in line, see where you're at in terms of number of hard inquiries, what your score is, etc. At the end of the day, whether you get approved or denied for a credit card, once you hit the apply button, that hard inquiry is going on your report. And so what you don't want to do is be denied and have to deal with a hard inquiry, because all of a sudden now you were denied, let's say, because your score was too low, and it's going to drop even a little bit more with that new inquiry. In my case, the score was looking pretty good, so I decided to continue with the application. So here I am at CapitalOne.com. I'm getting ready to submit my application. At the top of the page, I filled in all my information, name, address, income profile, etc. All that's left now is to hit the continue button, and let's see if we get approved. Validating information, reviewing your finances. I wonder what step 3 is going to be. Processing your application. And congratulations, you are approved for a Saver card. So this is super exciting. I think I'm going to get a ton of value out of this product. Like I said, I know where I spend money, and it's entertainment, it's dining, and it's travel. So for me, if I can have cards which I can maximize in those areas, I feel pretty good. I would love to hear your thoughts on this card, whether or not you have it or whether or not you think this was a good idea. I would also love to give your thoughts on the new Sapphire Reserve and the changes and whether or not you plan to keep it, although I do have another video for that coming soon, so stay tuned. That's all for now. Again, hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time.